how you start is how you finish. So here's an important thing to understand. And this won't apply to every woman, though I believe it applies to most. If you desire a man who can lead, take initiative, make decisions, then by you being the pursuer, by you starting off and setting the stage for you will be the one to take initiative, you will be the one to make things happen, you will drive the situation, you will basically flip the roles, all right? And now some people may say, well, there's nothing wrong with that. Why do we have to have gender roles? Listen, I do believe in gender roles. At the very least, I believe in roles. I believe we have to have roles, and you have to identify which one that you want, and not just want, are willing to sustain throughout the relationship and what you will desire from your partner. And so going back to a point of you desiring this leader, this initiative taker, things of that nature, by you being the pursuer, one, you may not come to realize that that man does not possess those characteristics and abilities. Because many times, not always, but many times, the guy who is unable to take any initiative in the courting or getting to know you, in moving things along, is a guy who lacks that ability in other aspects of his life. It's a consistent pattern. And so now, again, by you setting that stage of you doing it and taking that responsibility completely away from him, you end up with a man who lacks those abilities. And in the long run, you become very unhappy with it. And you've got to understand that you can sit there and say, well, how about if I started off that way, but then I let him take over? I think that can work. And that's why going back to presenting versus pursuing, if you present yourself, so you initiated first, but then from there, he takes the wheel and he pushes things along, you've now set things back in place, all right? But if you're continuously doing it, again, he becomes conditioned to, you got this. And so I've seen so many relationships, even marriages, where women will complain about this man never taking initiative, never making decisions, lacking ambition, so on and so forth. And many situations, when I say, well, how was he in the beginning? And it was like, he was always like that. Okay, so if he was always like that, why did you accept this? Why did you allow this to continue? And the reason was because they were blinded by their own pursuit. They were the ones pushing things along, and they wanted what they wanted, so they ignored the fact, and they also allowed him to believe he did not need to possess those qualities. So again, how you start is how you finish. Will you be happy with a man who is unable to take the lead? And so you being the pursuer, an ongoing pursuit, an ongoing driver of the car, and I just keep repeating these things so you understand the angle I'm taking with this, you're going to shoot yourself in the foot. And you're going to be very unhappy in the long run. So that's definitely a reason for a woman to never pursue. I want us to understand the difference between pursuing and presenting, all right? So some people believe a woman should not even approach a man. She should not make any kind of move, first move, second move. It should just be on him to go after her. I dispute that. I do think and believe that there's nothing wrong, and not just nothing wrong, that it's good for a woman to express interest, that it's good for a woman to present herself to a man that she's interested in. Now, for those of you who are biblical and very spiritual people, a lot of people love to use the scripture, he who finds a wife, to then insinuate that that means it's never on a woman. That's not what that scripture means, okay? Not to mention, people will also use the story of Ruth and Boaz. If those of you who aren't familiar with it, check it out, it's in the Bible. But listen, even in that story, Ruth had to present herself to Boaz in order to make that whole thing fall into place. So the idea that a woman should never say hello, should never present her interest, I think that's disputable, all right? And I think that a lot of the going against that idea is really due to the fact that people don't want to put themselves out there. It's due to the fact that People don't want to have to face any possible rejection, which is understandable, but you're only shooting yourself in the foot. Hey, thank you for watching this video. Be sure to check this one out right here, and I'll see you there. They say when a man wants a woman, there is nothing that will stop him from pursuing her. And I don't know about all that, all right? Because there's always some exceptions to the rule. But on the flip side, let's talk about the idea of a woman pursuing